This aquarium has certainly had its ups and downs, but 4 months in, it's in a really good spot. The fish are breeding like crazy, and I'm seeing a ton of plant growth. Let me tell you all about it. What's up, guys? I'm Lucas, and welcome to Terracotta Aquarium. So this is my Riverbed aquarium. It started out as more of a blackwater aquarium, but I've kind of let that go by the wayside, and now I just think of it as the Riverbed. It is a 15-gallon cube from Landon, and I'm using an Awaze just hang on the back filter. It's been doing super well. So in terms of fish, in here, we have a group of platinum Medocas and also leopard Danios. There are 8 Medocas and 5 Danios at the moment, and they are doing super well. I've seen a ton of breeding. In fact, right now I can see one of the Medocas with a clutch of eggs swimming around looking for a place to put it. And the Danios have also, I think, have been breeding as well. I haven't seen any eggs, but there are a couple of females in here with really big bellies. So that tells me that they're feeling good and safe in here, and they're happy to breed. And this is Kazi. She was just messing around with the tripod. So she's going to join us for the video for a little bit, so she stops messing with my equipment. And side note, she enjoys watching the fish, but she is totally fine and never disturbs the tanks. So anyway, the Medocas and the Danios, they're doing fantastic. I did have a couple of losses on the Medocas. There used to be 11 in here, and now there are 8. And it's sort of strange with them. I feel like their genetics might not be perfect because they do seem like a little slow and lethargic. And I was concerned initially that the Danios were just going to outcompete them for food. But basically, when I feed, I do 2 different types. I do one that's more of like a sinking food, and then one that is more of like a floating on the top. So the Danios will go for the food that sinks a little bit more, and then the Medocas will pick at the food on the surface. So I found a good balance there. But the couple that I've lost, I think it is just genetics, because the water parameters here have been perfect the entire time, and I don't see any aggression. So could be something like that. The Medocas are locally bred, which I thought would make them healthier, but I don't think that's necessarily true. There could be like a lot of inbreeding going on that led to this group. But I still love them. I think that they are beautiful little guys. And I did lose one of the Danios, and that was just from jumping out of the tank. I was keeping the water level a little bit too high initially when I added them in. But overall, the group I have in here is really strong and healthy. And the plants have been doing pretty well. You can see there's a ton of growth of the dwarf sage in the sort of foreground now. It's crept into the foreground. And the Vallisneria is doing the same thing, kind of creeping forward. The floating plants tend to collect in the back, and I think that's causing the Vallisneria to move forward. But I think it's totally fine. I really like this overgrown look in here. And this is actually the only tank that I've been able to successfully grow crypts in. And you can see all over the foreground, there's a bunch of crypt Wenty green that has been doing super well. I got it when it was already pretty much converted, which helped a ton. Thanks to my local fish shop for that one. They turned me onto it. But there's a bunch of them all over. So I'm very happy that they're growing well. And there is Juncus repens kind of in the center here, which I don't know how well it's growing. It hasn't really shown any new growth. It hasn't taken off or anything. But it's there. It hasn't really died back. And there's also some Java fern in here. I took like some baby Java ferns and put them kind of in the center of this tank. And it's chugging along. Java fern in my tanks, I don't know why it doesn't grow super fast. Over in the other tank here, I do have a decent amount of growth, but the old leaves kind of start dying back as the new growth happens. And I'm not sure if that's just a natural thing with Java fern or if that's just due to the nature of the water where I live and in my tanks. And the moss has been doing great, kind of exploding. I kind of need to trim it back. I think I want to do a little bit of a harvest, collect some of the moss, and then use that for some future scapes. So I'll be able to come in here and trim some off to do that, which I'm excited about. The Monstera up above has been doing great. It's consistently getting new leaves. I think I'm going to be in the position with it where I need to give it some sort of lattice or something to grow on if I really want to see more upward, bigger leaves. It is all the way down into the substrate though, and the same thing is true for the pothos that I have coming out. And they're doing a great job maintaining the water quality in here, along with the floating plants and really all of the plants, of course. But I really love the look of this tank. It is just super jungly and beautiful. And the snail population is pretty much under control. It's not getting too out of hands. The snail population in some of my other tanks is getting just a little bit too wild. So I'm happy that in here the snails are minimal, but there's just enough there to be a good cleanup crew and to help out the aquarium overall. And in terms of the maintenance for this tank, I really don't do a whole lot. The light in this tank is not quite as strong as some of my other ones. So the tank has found a good balance. I don't have to do a whole lot of algae scraping in here because the light's on for 6 hours a day and it doesn't totally blast this tank with light. I think it could even be a little bit higher, but I think it's fine for now. I don't really want to buy a new light at the moment, so sticking with this one. But because of that, there's not too much algae or anything. There's a really nice balance. And for water changes for this tank, I did one on this tank, I think 2 weeks ago, just as sort of like a routine maintenance to add some fresh water in here, but it hasn't really needed it. It's been very stable for a long time. And that's part of the reason is the Monstera and, of course, all of the plants inside. And the filter has been doing a great job. So, yeah, not a whole lot of maintenance at all. I'll just come in every other week and clear out some of the floating plants and maybe do a little bit of cleaning on the upper rim here. But that's just about it. But I have learned a lot from this tank, as I do from all of my tanks. I try to have each tank be, something new, an experiment that I can learn from, that I can build my knowledge with going into whatever the next project I decide to do is. And this tank was, in terms of the hardscape and everything, was really my first successful like triangular composition. It really does feel like a deep tank, and that's a little bit obscured at the moment because of the larger plants in the foregrounds. But the hardscape in here does look really good, and I think it's really successful in terms of the visual impact. And it really does pull the eye kind of deeper into the aquarium, which is great. This tank also taught me how to successfully grow crypts, and that is with the lower lights and ideally them coming in as healthy as they can be. So again, that's thanks to my local shop, but also the lighting in here and everything I think is perfect for growing crypts. There's just enough light that they're all successful. So those are a couple of things that I've gained from this tank. Overall, this has been a really fun project. My plans for the future of this tank is that in 2 months or so, when I move, I'm going to have to basically take everything out of here and start fresh. And, that's okay. I've learned a lot from this. I have a ton of healthy plants in here and, of course, fish. And I'm going to, be able to do something awesome in here. And, it might be a little sad to break this down, but overall, I think change is good. And taking the lessons that you've learned from a tank and transferring them into a new exciting project, I think that's great too. And I think in the next tanks that I do, I'm going to keep these two groups separate. I want to see if I can get maybe some like breeding setups going for the Medalkas and maybe even for the Danios. I kind of want to do like a longer shallow tank for the Danios because I think this cube is suitable for this group size, but I think based on their behavior and some stuff that I've read online, I think they would really enjoy like a nice long shallow tank where they can really zip around for longer distances. And in a recent video, I showed off a bunch of fry that I have in a different tank in my office, a little 5-gallon cube. And I am at this point, 99% sure that those fry came from this tank. And as the fry have been getting bigger, I have been able to try to figure out what they are more and more, looking at like the tail shape and the shape of the body and everything. And I think they're Danios. In the last video, I said I think they're Medalkas. It's totally possible that I'll go back to Medalkas again. But I think that the tail shape especially is indicating that they're Danios. So, and there's 11 or 12 of those fry in there that are all surviving. So it's entirely possible that I'm going to have a really big group of Danios on my hands soon. So that could be an excuse to make that shallow tank. And I think it'd be really cool to take this sort of idea, this riverbed sort of scape with the crypts, the grasses and everything, and just expand that into like a nice, long, shallow tank. So that's kind of what I'm thinking for the future. I think it'd be fun too for the Medalkas to maybe do more of like a pond style with them. Maybe have like do some breeding with them in the later half of the summer, like have them outside maybe. Could try something with that. But they're good, community fish as well. So I haven't totally decided. I think, when I move, the communities I have are going to kind of change and evolve. And I'm sure I'm going to get more ideas once I'm in a new space and I have more space to actually set up aquariums. But overall, this tank makes me really happy, really excited. It will be bittersweet to break it down, but there's an element of excitement to that too. Something fresh, something new, and something even better for the fish. But that's it for me for today, guys. I hope you enjoyed this look back at the Riverbed Aquarium here. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe. Leave me a comment telling me what kind of setup you think I should do for the Medalkas in the future. But thanks so much for watching, guys. I really appreciate you. I hope you have an awesome day. Check out my other videos, too. There's probably some on screen. But I appreciate you guys, and I'll see you in the next one. Say bye, Cuzzy. Say bye to the people.